Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Equinox 10 sessions. Tonight, I'm very happy to welcome members of Spirit Now London, an amazing community involved in art and culture. A big thanks and love to Marie-Laure de Clermont-Tonnerre. I'm very proud and happy to offer with the Foundation a weekly program of poetic readings. This poetic platform was launched at the beginning of this crisis on a joint initiative with the poetess, curator, gallerist, and writer Barbara Polla, and led by the French artist Pascal Barret. And tonight, as I said, we are celebrating our 10th session. It's a success as we have more than 300 participants each week who are following us, our session online on our website of the Foundation. To me, to us, poetry is a way of keeping hope, giving liberty to our imagination, to the musicality of words, and also a way of enjoying the present moment. It gives us strength and verticality for facing our future. And as Adonis, the amazing Limadis poet said, it's our rose des vents à tous. I want to tell you a little bit of the foundation here in Brussels. Just a quick note. This foundation was created in 2013. Its main objective is to support artistic projects socially engaged. It was the aim at the beginning. And then in 2018, we have launched a venue in Brussels that offers an artistic residency, a multidisciplinary program, which combines visual arts, performance, and exhibitions, mainly on female artists, which is one of the themes of my collection. Since its opening, we had the privilege to organize more than 100 events, thanks to the amazing work of Julien Amissel. Thank you, Julien. These events have taken place at the Foundation in Brussels. Among our guests, we have welcomed Ali Chéry, Clarissan, Clément Cogitor, Slaven Tatar, Rachel Monosov, Alex Cecchetti, among others. About literary encounters, we had also the privilege to receive authors as Yannick Enel for his book about the Caravaggio, or Marie Dariussec for her latest book, La mer à l'envers. During my lockdown, I have developed a big interest for poetry, which I read and write, and the Foundation will publish all the texts related to the Equinox platform. In the same time, a new edition, a new publishing house will also see the light of a day, Ishtar, with poetry, of course, female literature and travel writings, among which Traversée. Traversée is a book with the quarantine testimonies of 30 female artists. And this book will be launched next September when we reopen. Thank you. And now I give the lead to Pascal Barret for the moderation. Thank you and have a great equinox.
Hello, good evening. Thank you, Nathalie. So tonight, as you said, we will mix French and English. And every session, we mix languages. And we are happy to welcome to start Janet Biggs.
Hi, I'm Janet Biggs, and I'm reading from Brooklyn, New York. This is a narrative text that I'm working on for an upcoming film called Finding Equilibrium. When astronaut Scott Kelly was asked what he missed most during his year in space, he said the weather, feeling the rain on his skin, the wind across his face. This is what it's like to live inside a spacesuit. It's heavy, both the physical weight of wearing a life-sustaining garment and the psychological weight of knowing that you must. Simple tasks like bending over and picking up a rock become Herculean. I learned to hum. It regulates your breathing. If you breathe too hard or fast, your helmet fogs and you can't see. If you breathe too hard and fast, you use up all your oxygen Once your helmet is locked into place, any moisture inside, sweat, a runny nose, tears, can blind you. Once your helmet is locked into place, your peripheral vision is blocked and depth perception is altered. You know that thing that we all do? Brush a piece of hair from our eyes, run our hand over our skin to detect some small change, something new? It's impossible in a spacesuit. You know that thing we all do? Run our hand over someone else's skin? That's impossible. Crew Journal, Soul 2. We are all now exhibiting extraordinary strength, but we are acutely and sometimes frighteningly aware of our corporal bodies' fragilities and limitations here on Mars. Last night, one of our crew members experienced extreme exhaustion, followed by shortness of breath. After examining her lungs, breathing rails were detected. Crackles that indicate fluid in the small airways. Due to the effects of this new gravity, her body was shifting liquid to her lungs. After careful consideration, it was determined that if her condition did not improve by morning, we would need to send her back to Earth. No one slept easy that night. Our new home could be an inhospitable place, full of dangers, some understood, and many still to be discovered. We felt a bit like early mountaineers back on Earth, who battled the harsh handholds and unforgiving granite of the mountain, and also the effects of altitude, weather, and mind-numbing isolation. It's interesting in a theoretical kind of way to think about the ways our bodies will be affected and changed by our new home. But this isn't theory. We're now living in those harsh realities. Lactic acid accumulates, our muscles atrophy as our minds and our eyes cloud. Years ago, back on Earth, there was some speculation that DNA changes due to time spent in space. A study was conducted with two twins, one remaining on Earth while the other spent a year in space. Upon his return, the twin who had lived in space showed substantial changes to his DNA. There was telomere growth to his chromosomes, usually only associated with young children. Was space the fountain of youth? At the same time, studies were being conducted using CRISPR. Instead of terraforming Mars, could we Mars form our bodies to accept higher levels of CO2 and radiation? For all the promise of these early experiments, our reality is that our bodies suffer and are slow to adapt, if they can adapt at all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bravo, Janet.
Merci, thank you. Now we will hear Ali Kazma.
Hi, I'm Ali Kazma. I'm reading from Istanbul, Turkey, and I'm going to be reading an excerpt from a text I'm writing for an exhibition that I was planning to do next year, but we'll see now. The text is called Mid-Century Modern. Here we go. Another well-known example of these huts of retreat would have to be Heidegger's cabin in Tottenberg, South Germany. Die Hütte, his ski cabin on the slopes, is in the Black Forest Mountains. This simple hut measures 6 by 7 meters. It has a bedroom with a small table for washing, a study facing south, a desk measuring 1 by 1.5 meters, a small dining area with a cooking stove, and a very basic toilet. It was built in 1922 using hand tools only. Some scholars have claimed that the hut was to a certain degree part of Heidegger's calculated and constructed personal mythology, an ideal setting for a heroic confrontation between the thinker and existence. The Austrian writer Thomas Bernhard has gone even further, calling the whole affair a tasteless and provincial kitsch. Others have made links with the hut and the folkish Nazi ideology. On a deep winter's night, when a wild pounding snowstorm rages around the cabin and veils and covers everything, That is the perfect time for philosophy. Then its questions must become simple and essential, Heidegger wrote in his essay, Why Do I Stay in the Provinces? He was stating his reasons for refusing the offer for a much coveted and prestigious position from Humboldt University in Berlin. Born to a provincial family, the philosopher never felt comfortable in cosmopolitan surroundings. Heidegger was aware and fond of the tradition of the sage and the simple hut, that of the Japanese poet Matsuo Basho, for example. Just like Heidegger, Basho liked to be immersed in the rhythms of nature and found solitude to be the necessary condition for his work. His main form of poetry, haiku, is grounded strongly in the musicality and rhythm of language.
Translate without fear. Different funeral scenarios.
In 1680, in his small hut in Fukugawa, the young poet Tosei, he hadn't taken the name Basho yet, wrote, At midnight, under the bright moon, a secret worm digs into a chestnut. On a snowy morning, I sat by myself, chewing through strips of dried salmon. Tonight, the wind blowing through the basho tree, I hear the leaking rain drop against the basin. Oars hit waves, and my intestines freeze as I sit weeping in the dark night. It's from the tree mentioned here that the master took his pen name and became Basho. He had planted the tree in the garden himself. 2 years later, in 1682, a wildfire would break in Edo and destroy his house among many others. The hut was a gift to Basho from Bashu, one of his admirers. Basho was a great walker. He took many trips on foot in his life. The longest of these was the 2,000 kilometers he covered in 5 months in 1689. He started from Edo and traveled through the whole northern coast of Honshu, the main island of Japan. He wrote his well-known book, The Narrow Road to the Deep North, during this journey. In 17th century Japan, this route was difficult and dangerous. There were no reliable maps, and some areas were infested with robbers. This elegant book by Basho has inspired countless individuals throughout the centuries to make the same journey. Today, for around 4,000 euros, you can book a place on a guided tour taking you through a section of Basho's journey. The tour includes staying at Shinto shrines and sampling traditional Japanese cuisine and sake. Just like Basho, Heidegger loved to travel on foot. There are marked tracks around the hut today which follow the long walks he used to take in the area. Heidegger was also an expert skier. He loved the crisp, pure air of the mountains. He preferred the small stoic cabin in the countryside to his comfortable bourgeois house near the university. Hibiki in Japanese means an echo. It's one of the essential elements of the linking technique Basho uses in his poetry. This linking technique can operate through a sensed harmony, a perceived likeness or contrast, or the suspected presence of a shadow. This is Heidegger in 1927. Despite all conquest of distances, the nearness of things remains absent. This is Basho in 1685. In Kyoto, hearing the cuckoo, I long for Kyoto. Thank you.
Perfect. Teşekkürler Ali.
Ben teşekkür ederim.
Teşekkürler. Maintenant, nous allons entendre Carole Douillard.
Oui, bonjour à tous. Bonsoir. Moi, je suis donc artiste, performeur, et là, je suis en ce moment à Nantes, en France. Je vais vous lire, il y a 15 jours, j'avais lu un extrait des carnets de Suzanne Sontag, du premier de ses carnets, qui ont été publiés par son fils après sa mort. Elle est morte en 2004 ou 2006. Et donc, son fils a publié ses carnets, ses mémoires, enfin, les carnets qu'elle écrivait pour elle-même après sa mort. Voilà, j'ai travaillé dans ses archives à Los Angeles il y a quelques mois, et du coup, en ce moment, je m'intéresse beaucoup à ce qu'elle à la manière dont elle pense le monde. Donc voilà, je vous propose une seconde lecture. Et nous sommes en 1949, Suzanne Sontag a 16 ans. Le 2 octobre 1949, et quitter Los Angeles à 13h30. Impossible de comprendre. Le 3 octobre 1949, dans le train, Arizona, Nouveau-Mexique, des couleurs de contes de fées dans le lit des rivières asséchées, très larges, 6 à 9 mètres, et de 1 mètre à 1 mètre 20 de profondeur. Un sable lisse, rosé et ridé, et sur les falaises miniatures flanquant le lit, de petits buissons verts argentés. Le 4 octobre 1949. Suis arrivée à Chicago à 7h15 le matin. C'est la ville la plus laide que j'ai jamais vue, un immense bidonville, le centre, jonché d'ordures, des rues étroites, le bruit du L, l'obscurité perpétuelle et l'odeur. Les vieillards en haillons titubants, les arcades de flippers, les magasins de photocopies, les cinémas, l'amour dans un camp de nudistes, tout dire, la vérité nue, intégrale. Dans une librairie de State Street, j'ai feuilleté 2 volumes de Steckel, The Homosexual Neurosis et Bisexual Love. Il croit que les humains sont naturellement bisexuels. Les Grecs ont été la seule culture à le reconnaître. Le 5 octobre 1949, arrivé à New York à 8h45 le matin. Le 8 octobre 1949, je suis allée présenter mes respects annuels à l'oncle Aaron et ai reçu les $722 pour me loger et me nourrir cette année. Je suis donc complètement à l'abri financièrement. Le 12 octobre 1949, 3 oasis dans un désert familial de chantage moral. Mort d'un commis voyageur d'Arthur Miller, Le diable au corps, film tiré du roman de Raymond Radiguet, La coupe d'argent, pièce par Shin O'Casey. Suzanne Sontag a inséré le programme des pièces de Miller et de O'Casey dans le carnet. La pièce d'Arthur Miller est très puissante, décor magnifique de Joe Mills-Dinner, très bien joué et très bien dirigé. C'est juste que ce n'est pas vraiment écrit. Le film d'après Radiguet, avec Gérard Philippe, très sensible à tout point de vue, sauf que cela n'avait pas la stature classique d'une symphonie pastorale. La pièce de O'Casey, un bon spectacle, mais assurément améliorable. C'est une œuvre étrange et pas vraiment réussie. À mon avis, bien qu'il y ait des moments magnifiques et que le premier acte soit constamment beau et émouvant, le deuxième acte, symbolique, ne s'accorde pas totalement avec le réalisme du premier. Et la franche et candide pitié pour le héros dans les 2 derniers actes est une sorte de déclin après les attitudes passionnantes et complexes des 2 premiers actes. Le 15 octobre 1949, La Folle de Chaillot, le plus beau spectacle de théâtre que j'ai vu ici. C'était pur et infiniment bien conçu. Sa démarche, ses mains, ses gestes, leur précision me faisait souffrir d'une absence de grâce empathiquement inversée. La collection grecque du Met, statue de marbre d'une vieille marchande, 2e siècle avant Jésus-Christ, penchée en avant, regardant fixement la lèvre pendante. Ces notes sont suivies d'un dessin de la statue. Les notes suivantes sont rayées, regard en arrière sur ses 16 années. Suzanne Sontag n'aura 17 ans qu'en janvier de l'année suivante. Un bon début, vraiment, pourrait être mieux. Plus d'érudition, assurément, mais il n'est pas raisonnable d'attendre beaucoup plus de maturité émotionnelle que je n'en ai à ce stade. Tout est en ma faveur, mon émancipation précoce, Le texte s'arrête ici. Quelle est la part du narcissisme dans l'homosexualité? Révulsion. Gide a peut-être raison, la séparation de l'amour et de la passion, CF, introduction à l'édition de la Modern Library des faux monnayeurs. Je lis docilement, avec obéissance, je me forme. Ce qui donne le ton, Cézanne, vase de tulipes, 1890-1894, vert. Mont-Sainte-Victoire, 1900, bleu, blanc, jaune, rose. Toujours cette fascination puérile pour mon écriture, penser que j'ai toujours cette potentialité sensuelle qui étincelle entre mes doigts. Le 27 octobre 1949, Comment défendre l'expérience esthétique? Plus que du plaisir, parce qu'on ne peut pas évaluer les œuvres d'art d'après le plaisir qu'elles procurent. Mais quelle est en soi supérieure? Non, c'est illogique. Comment les opérations mentales peuvent-elles exister? Le quatuor de Beethoven contre théorème d'Euclide.
Besoin d'ordre. Toute sa vie, Suzanne Sontag a fait des listes de mots dans lesquelles elle insérait parfois le nom d'une personne ou une brève observation. Cette liste non datée de l'automne 49 est représentative et montre que cette habitude est très tôt devenue une seconde nature chez elle. Décadent, noctambule, diligent, détumescence, échevelé, si séduisant, si cérébral, détrempé, intrigant, dignité corrompue, l'autophage, élégiaque, méléagre, disponibilité, moucheté, populaire, Harriet Wilson, garbure, satura, succulent, la vulgarité intellectuelle compétente d'Aldous Huxley, la préciosité du Yellow Book, secret, robuste, pédanterie plus lubricité, spleen, débauche, ilex, klaxon. Voilà.
Bravo, Carole.
Bah, bravo Suzanne Sontag surtout. Mais voilà.
Tu lis très bien. On y est là.
Merci.
Avec elle.
Merci. Merci.
Now we welcome Mimi Kunz.
Hi, I'm Mimi Kunz. I'm a visual artist and I write. And for tonight, I'm interested in a visual language of movement. And tonight I made a moving poem kind of with a series of drawings called Pedestrians. And Claire is going to show the video and I'll read a little text to it. We move and interact always, in manifold ways, aligning limbs by heart in a commonly unique way, like handwriting. Our body language shows us balancing between here, now, there, then. Seeing, dreaming, watching, hearing, following ideas, looking into the past, imagining the future, going with our gut, responding to a feeling, like day and night, aging, spring. Time is how we describe things changing, the form of things, the shape of us. Thank you.
Bravo, Mimi. Super.
Et c'est au tour de Alin Imagi pour la troisième partie de sa trilogie vulvesque.
Bonsoir à toutes et à tous. Hi everybody. I'm Alin Imagi Fernande. I'm a poetess and a storyteller conteuse. Et sur la trilogie de la vulvo-clito-ovarienne, aujourd'hui je vous fais la clitopandémie. Voilà. Clitomnestre, prends ton clito et claque la porte. Une éclite de lune, un éclite de verre, c'est la clitomania. Clitomètre, mère de clito, clitonnier, phare à clito, clitonian, clitonieur, clitocogneur, clitingénieur, au clitodit, au clitofait. La vie appartient aux gens qui se clito. Clitomoutard, clitomotard, clitomoutarde, un clito de rage, un clito qui déchire le silence. T'as vu le dernier clito de... Un clito de couture, un clito de muscu, clitoriel pour les nuls. Je t'écris au clitobille, un sac de clito. Définition du clitonaire. en clitopédie, clitobandémie, clitopédia, clitonudista, clitomoteur, clitopédiste, clitop, Euclide et le clitop, Euclide et les sirènes, Clitorossi, Clito Morrison, Clito Tyler, Beth Clito, éclitosion du papillon, Bernard Clito, Clito-inversion, Wonder Woman et les super pouvoirs de la clitonite, Bill Clinton, Eric Clinton, Clinton Ice-T, le doux clitocutie de la pluie, Jean-Claude, c'est moi ta cliti, je suis rentrée. Il fait si froid, gla gla gla, laisse-moi rentrer chez toi. Ah 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 ah. Clitorcée, clitomancie, clitologie grecque, clitologie nordique, les grands clitofondateurs. Le clitodore est attribué à clitonsure ou clitocensure, la clititude des choses. Clitboxing, marcher clitin-clitant, à clitplay, 20 clitomètres à pied, ça use, 20 clitomètres à pied, ça use les souliers. Clitocib, clitogravure, clitographie, clitotechnie, clito de soude, clitoxène, le début du clitocène, entrée en clitosis. 5 petits clitos à vendre, voire photos. Clitodépendance, les clitotes sont bouchés. Ne me clite pas, je t'inventerai des mots insensés que tu comprendras. Sauter par-dessus la cliture, 30 millions de clits sur la publication, clitare électrique, clitare acoustique ou une clitare. La clitonique a été élue danse de l'année 2020. Les plaques clitoniques, combien de clitos de beurre? On va fêter la cliture de saison aujourd'hui. Au clair de la lune, mon ami Clito, prête-moi ta plume pour écrire des mots. Laissez-vous séduire par son nouveau look, la nouvelle Clito de Renault. C'est Clito qui a chanté Banana Split. Jésus-Clit, Clito Colombe, Clitis Wood, Bonnie and Clit. Il a crié, Clito. Clitine and the Queen, la reine Clitine de Suède, Clitmarker, Clitorine. Je tourne en rond, tu sais que quelquefois j'ai peur de... Je tourne autour 100 fois, tu sais que quelquefois j'ai peur de moi. Et j'ai tant besoin de toi plus que jamais. Je veux tomber dans tes bras, je voudrais marcher dans tes plis. On invente les règles du jeu quand on est tous les deux. Ensemble, nous irons jusqu'au bout du chemin. Je tiendrai dans ton nom si tu me prends la main. Retiens-moi si je sombre, je suis ta prisonnière. Si loin de notre monde, j'ai la tête à l'envers. J'ai vraiment besoin de toi. L'éternité commence ce soir. L'éternité maintenant. Il était une fois une femme amoureuse, peut-être un petit peu trop rêveuse. Il n'y a plus rien à dire. C'est un clito totalement en sueur. Merci à Clito et une dédicace spéciale au Trash Croûte pour leur inspiration.
Oh, j'adore!
Bravo.
Merci, la sardine!
Yeah.
Super créatif, vraiment.
Avec plaisir.
Drôle. Comment tu fais pour avoir un derrière toi? C'est quoi? C'est du cinéma là? C'est de la 3D? C'est de la...
Non, là j'ai juste une boule de DJ pour faire... pardon. Pour faire ça.
C'est un effet.
Moi aussi, je mets une boule de DJ.
Ah oui.
Nathalie, si tu as un ordinateur récent, dans tes paramètres, je t'expliquerai, tu peux avoir un arrière-plan animé.
Okay. Je vais demander à Claire, mais évidemment que j'ai un ordinateur récent, hein, Claire?
Oui, Nathalie, un super ordinateur.
Bon, on s'en occupe.
Merci. Et donc, nous accueillons maintenant Ninar Esper.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ninar Esper. I'm a visual artist and a writer. And I'm going to read from Paris 3 poems, 3 different poems. One of Pierre Joris, one of Jean-Jacques, and one of Syrian poetess, Sania Saleh. I'll start with the Pierre Joris in English. It is so like me, you say. How else or who else would it be? I want to whisper, I have been all the others already, and all that's left of that is a taste in my mouth that is the only thing that's not me. And that's how I know that it is me, that I am, that and not the taste in my mouth or yours, though we have gone there too, if not of late. It is indeed so like me, but I have no choice. It is me, I mean, I have always returned from being someone else, which it is true, I try or have to. That is the danger of words. They always are and are themselves. Not me, so when I am in them, I am me, and them, and they are I, and I am everybody else. And yes, it is so like you to feel, or do I, that you are the excluded third, the words and I and you, yet even if you wind up a line, break the words, all are for you, or are they of you? I am like certain they all are you. Or everybody else? Are they everybody else but me? I know they are not me. I am me, and it is so like me to be that way, boringly, simply me, as each of us is. At times I lack words, other times I leak them worms, no words, I said. It is so like me not to keep them straight, but throw them up in your hair, I mean our air, and juggle them hopelessly till the wrong one comes to the right hand, or vice versa, a twisted verse of words, or worms that squirm. They both have that in common, out from under my juggling hands, that are so not like me. Now, Jean Genet, extrait du Le condamné à mort. Sur mon cou, sans armure et sans haine, mon cou, que ma main plus légère et grave qu'une veuve effleure sous mon col, sans que ton cœur s'émeuve. Laisse tes dents poser leur sourire de loup. Oh, viens mon beau soleil, oh, viens ma nuit d'Espagne, arrive dans mes yeux qui seront morts demain. Arrive, ouvre ma porte, apporte-moi ta main, mène-moi loin d'ici battre notre campagne. Le ciel peut s'éveiller, les étoiles fleurir, ni les fleurs soupirer, et des prés l'herbe noire. Accueillir la rosée où le matin va boire, le clocher peut sonner, moi seul je vais mourir. Oh, viens mon ciel de rose, oh ma corbeille blonde, visite dans sa nuit ton condamné à mort. Arrache-toi la chair, tue, escalade, mort, mais viens, pose ta joue contre ma tête ronde. Nous n'avions pas fini de nous parler d'amour, nous n'avions pas fini de fumer nos gitanes. On peut se demander pourquoi les cours condamnent un assassin si beau qu'il fait pâlir le jour. Amour, viens sur ma bouche. Amour, ouvre tes portes, traverse les couloirs, descends, marche léger, vole dans l'escalier, plus souple qu'un berger, plus soutenu par l'air qu'un vol de feuilles mortes. Oh, traverse les murs, s'il te faut, marche au bord des toits, des océans, couvre-toi de lumière, use de la menace, use de la prière, mais viens, ô ma frégate, 1 heure avant ma mort. And I'll finish with a poem of Sania Saleh in Arabic. عندما يطل الصيف من أعشاشه البعيدة الزرقاء يتوهج جسدي بنار الأفكار يختفي ضجيج العالم خلف صخب دمي فأين حبرك المنقذ أيها التاريخ مع الصيف جاءت طيور ملونة وعذراء، سيرت المراكب، خططت أحلام الشعراء، وبمناقيرها الوردية رسمت شريعة للحب والغناء. أغرق الأطفال رؤوسهم الذهبية في صدورهم كبجع البحيرات بحثاً عن قلوبهم وأثدائهم الوردية، لكن الأعشاب الطرية ذبلت فجأة، والسماء الفسيحة ازدحمت بطيور غامضة كغناء جوليا كأناشيدها، طيور عبرت ثقوب الكتب والهندسة ورسائل العشاق، سافرت مع جوليا وهي تغني. فرح الجسد يتهدم، الأغاني تتلاشى، والنيران المشتعلة تحتضن بعضها خوفا من مطر الرماد.
Super beau. Thank you so much.
Alors maintenant, c'est au tour d'Aurélie Gravas.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Aurélie Gravas, je suis peintre et je fais des chansons. Je suis avec Luc Van Lieshout et nous allons vous jouer une chanson qui s'appelle Kitoko.
Boy, come on, Kitoko, good boy, come on, Kitoko, good boy, come on, Kitoko, good boy, Apache, on your right, Apache, on your right, Apache, on your right, Apache, on your right. Dead animals can feed other animals. Dead animals can lead other animals. Dead animals can feed other animals. Dead animals can lead other animals. Dead animals can feed other animals. Dead animals can lead other animals. Dead animals can feed other animals. Animals can feed other animals. I am the last trapper. I am the last trapper. I am the last dropper. I'm the last dropper. Come on, Kitoko, on your right, Apache, come on. Kitoko, on your right, Apache, come on. Kitoko, on your right, Apache, come on. Kitoko, good boy.
Voilà.
C'était super. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Merci. C'est au tour de Jean-Jacques Poussel.
Hello. Pleasure to see you all. I'm reading from an unstable internet connection in Nathrop, Colorado, in a chalet where I'm sheltering in place with my family. And I'm going to read two texts. The first is from the first part of Anne Portugal's Et comment nous voilà moins épais, published by POL in 2017. That first section is a dialogue between two voices, a hermit and a lion. It's called La Colocation in French, and the translation that I proposed for today is Togetherness. It begins with a letter, I believe, from the hermit to the lion. Dear lion, once our fidelity program initiated, we'll partake of the higher life, just like superstore customers, branded, satisfied, disappointed, reimbursed club members will go sleep in beds already made, already occupied somewhere, properties on offer for the taking, with rooms, walls, roofs, surroundings, and private corners far above everything. Around us, the lighting of bulbs hung yellow at each location, a laying out flat all over of lawns and graves, and the good of today. Things, restaurants, buildings, entryways, the manner of curtains upon which are printed clouds and rivers. Then let's draw an additional line, another left bank. Yours sincerely, etc. That series of poems describes a domestic dialogue, intimate by facing pages, where the two characters speak through, about, past each other. I'll read the second to last of those dialogues. Hermit. What slogan do you consider at river's edge? Of course, a fabrication without rushing the final touches and substitute send-offs of seed. Had you had a flower box, what would you have done differently? Lion. I was looking for a short poem in terms of easiness, to leap over obstacles at the center of the passageways, strong at first until regular flow as a company bird. Once demand ticks up, stocked in units, key glissando under the door. I'd like to read a couple of poems from Frédéric Fort's unrhyming crown of sonnets entitled Le Sentiment Général, which was published in the online journal Catastrophe in November 2019. I'll begin with the master sonnet, as he calls it. Between each line of this master sonnet, the other 14 sonnets. You'll hear some of the lines twice. So now is not the time to start, all things being equal, because there's a subject that's hiding in broad daylight, visible to the naked eye, but unnoticed in its blinking. It's a landscape and binary system, something that looks like a line of the infraordinary world, almost nothing you'd want to get out of yourself in the end, precisely coming back to the surface of things, just like a big fat fish caught in the net of what we don't know, the matter of poetry, perhaps, the very thing we'd like overturned. The first poem in that series is, and now is not the time to start a new poem. There's fever at home and the cleanings to be done, and we don't really know how to prioritize. The priorities we'd like to see would be, but the world isn't always the thing in itself, the most operational. We think we're just saying a lot of crazy things, how to decide to act. This sky is usually cloudy. We hear cartoon voices, introspective music that plays on the living room channel, and we get all things being equal. The last two poems in the series are, the matter of poetry, perhaps, doesn't yield anything but a dash of green in the orange twilight and then curtains of fog, like that on the landscape touch, we'd opt out of the counters so that everything would be equal in words, a setting sun, worthy of a garbage truck or anything else of which one might think, so much as one thinks in a poem, and we turn them into no other object but this, a sound that would leak out until it faded away on its own or got blown up by another louder noise, the very thing we'd like overturned. The very thing we'd like overturned turns us over every time it's an image that we can't see. But is it then an image, and wouldn't we be the ones pictured? The general feeling would be the dream title of the documentary film in which we all keep on rolling, shot up against each other. Right when no one has yet said cut, the lights go on blinking, and in the long panning, which returns us to where we started, you can see the beginning of something. So now is not the time to start. Merci.
C'est au tour de Johanna Price. Claire will share with us a video of Johanna.
Pull My Daisy, de Jacques Kerouac et Allen Ginsberg. Pull my daisy, tip my cup, all my doors are open. Cut my thoughts for coconuts. All my eggs are broken. Jack my arden, gate my shades, who my road is spoken. Silk my garden, rose my days, now my prayers awaken. Bone my shadow, dove my dream, start my hollow bleeding. Milk my mind and make me cream. Drink me when you're ready. Hop my heart on, harp my age. Seraphs hold me steady. Hip my angel, hype my light. Lay it on the needy. Heal the raindrop, sow the high. Burst my dust again. Who the warm, walk the wise, dig my spade the same. Stop the wax, what the hex? Where the wake, how the ix? Take my golden beam. Robe my local, lick my rocks, lip my cock in school. Rack my lax, lark my looks, jump right up my hole. War my door, beat my boar, eat my snake of fool. Craze my hair, bear my poor, a soul shorn of wool. Say my oops, up my shell, bite my naked nut, wall my buns, ring my bell, call my room to sup, pop my parts, pop my pot, raise my daisy up, poke my pap, pit my plum, let my gap be shut.
Thank you. Johanna, normalement, est en ligne, nous regarde. Now we will welcome Raquel Levitsky.
Hi, everyone. I'm so glad to be here. This has been wonderful. I'm a poet. I'm in Brooklyn, and I also am the founder of a feminist avant-garde collaborative called Belladonna Collaborative. It's online as belladonnaseries.org. And it's 20 years, did I say that? So I'm going to read 3 poems from a long series, and each of the poems in this series is all called Against Travel. And its name is sort of what it is. It's like kind of pushing against or challenging the notion that travel is liberating, maybe something like that, or maybe for today, the idea that it is against the fantasy that travel frees us from confinement. Against Travel. For Ruth, that's my mother. They're all for somebody. Between the course and the course, its precipitation transmogrifies from snow, mist, to snow, to hail, to snow, to mist, to rain. Along the same river and about it, a big ancestral feeling as if for a change, something good has happened in the zone of memory, usually reserved for that which keeps us staring at the window not there. No concrete fill, no reconstruction of some eternal shiny city of anyone's dream. It's just a shitty interior wall. Now it's the river that's changed and no more feeling. It's not yet connected by tributary or tribute, just some vague similarities of sound and umlaut. Is an umlaut an accent or a diacritical mark? Anyway, it's pretty here just the same. In the distance, we see the castles we've seen somewhere before. Against Travel, for Sabrina. Not C, S. But I want to say it was C who wrote Tinder a raison. The longs are a mex. Vive sola, no mercy, very much, how much mirage of face in a hairstyle. I don't forget, or the moves, an argument with gestures in favor of feelings, the horrors, the lipsticks, bulging trousers, $25, thousands, and a photograph on repeat of one bad man, text, next, inflated, daily, rapey needs. Floating alongside particles of thanks God, paper and fire, not helium and rubber composite hot balloons. I invite you, no, it's a treat. What's your big problem anyway? Not enough doctors? Or that the poop hasn't gone all the way down? Neither. It's that your parents were in that room. All things take such a long times, even at, or do you think it's especially at their ends? Against Travel, for Diana. Where am I? And why am I between a man as towering and fat as Charles Olson and a scrawny French kid shucking gender for a rabbit? How many pounds are big and how many measure a kilo in a bar or brick of chocolate? When the bully gets laid, who gets paid for the pleasure? Pussy blockade for the underage's loot tutelage, future fuse or freeze, shelf lives, birds cawing, omens grinning. My big man Stephanie appears. I climb up and stay up against the wall. Impressive, so are you. But what does one do with gravity and the beyond cavey depth when, while, all the way up here? The stairs are a holler, her speed a bit daunty. Yes, I do. Take it that way and read Andrea Dworkin, for guidance and pleasure. Thank you.
Nous allons écouter Nathalie Guiot.
Bonsoir. I'm the founder of the Fondation Telly, and I'm a beginner in everything. And tonight, ce soir, I want to talk about, I want to read two poems of Silvia Plus and poetry that I wrote during our confinement. Silvia Plus, 1932-1963. She was the most dynamic and unmarried poet of the 20th century. By the time she took her life at the age of 30, Platt already had a following in the literary community. Her singular verse is an attempt to catalogue despair, violent emotion, and obsession with death. Elle n'était pas très heureuse en couple, elle était mariée avec un grand poète anglais, Ted Hughes, et elle était bipolaire et elle a tenté plusieurs fois de se suicider jusqu'à ce qu'elle réussisse à l'âge de 30 ans. Et maintenant, je vais vous lire un poème en anglais sur sa vie domestique qui s'appelle The Applicant. The Applicant. First, are you our sort of person? Do you wear a glass eye, false teeth or a crutch, a brace or a hook, rubber breasts or rubber crotch? Stitches to show something missing? No, no. Then how can we give you a thing? Stop crying. Open your hand. Empty, empty. Here is a hand. To fill it and willing, to bring teacups and roll away headaches and do whatever you tell it. Will you marry it? It is guaranteed. To shut your eyes at the end and dissolve of sorrow. You make new stock from the soles. I notice you are stark naked. How about this suit? Black and stiff, but not a bad fit. Will you marry it? It is waterproof, shutterproof, proof against fire and bombs through the roof. Believe me, they'll bury you in it. Now your head, excuse me, is empty. I have the ticket for that. Come here, sweetie, out of the closet. Well, what do you think of that? Naked as paper to start. But in 25 years, she'll be silver. In 50, gold. A living doll everywhere you look. It can sew, it can cook, it can talk, talk, talk. It works, there is nothing wrong with it. You have a hole, it is a poultice. You have an eye, it is an image. My boy, it's your last resort. Will you marry it, marry it, marry it? Et maintenant, je vais vous lire un autre poème de Silvia Plus, cette fois en français, qui s'appelle Dame Lazare. Ça y est, je l'ai encore fait. Tous les 10 ans, c'est réglé, je réussis. Comme un miracle ambulant. Ma peau devient aussi lumineuse qu'un abat-jour nazi. Mon pied droit, un presse-papier. Mon visage, un délicat mouchoir juif. Ôtez-moi ce linge blanc, ô mon ennemi. Le nez, les orbites, la denture complète. N'est-ce pas parfaitement effroyable? L'aigreur de la laine aura disparu en une journée. Et très vite, la chair que le gouffre du tombeau avait dévorée se remettra d'elle-même en place. Sur moi, femme souriante, je n'ai que 30 ans. Et comme les chats, je dois mourir 9 fois. Ceci est ma mort numéro 3. Quel saccage pour anéantir chaque décennie. Quelle multitude de filaments. La foule qui croque ses cacahuètes se bouscule pour me les voir. Enlever un à un, c'est le striptease intégral. Messieurs, mesdames, voici mes mains, voici mes genoux. Si je n'ai que la peau et les os, je n'en suis pas moins véritable, la même femme. La première fois, j'avais 10 ans, c'était un accident. La deuxième fois, j'étais bien résolue à en finir, ne jamais revenir. Je me suis scellée, comme un coquillage. Ils ont appelé, appelé. Ils ont retiré les asticots gluants comme des perles. Mourir est un art comme tout le reste. Je m'y révèle, exceptionnellement douée. On dirait l'enfer tellement, on jurerait que c'est vrai. On pourrait croire que j'ai la vocation. C'est assez facile à réaliser dans une cave. C'est assez facile de rester là et d'attendre. C'est le retour. Théâtral en plein jour, au même lieu, au même visage, à la même clameur, primitive amusée. Miracle qui me foudroie. Il me faut payer. Pour regarder mes cicatrices, il faut payer. Pour entendre mon cœur, il bat pour de bon. Et il faut payer, et payer très cher, pour avoir un mot, un geste, un peu de sang, une mèche de mes cheveux, un bout de mes vêtements. Voilà, voilà, Herr Doctor. Voilà, Herr ennemi. Je suis votre chef-d'œuvre. Je suis votre bien le plus précieux, le bébé tout d'or pur, qui fond en un seul cri. Je brûle et me consume. Ne croyez pas que je sous-estime la valeur de vos intérêts. Cendre, cendre, vous tisonnez. De la chair, des os, rien, vous fouillez. Un pain de savon, une alliance, une dent en or. Dieu, Lucifer. Méfiez-vous, méfiez-vous. De la cendre je surgis, avec mes cheveux rouges, et je dévore les hommes. Dévore les hommes comme l'air.
Merci.
Merci.
Très beau.
Oui.
Merci.
C'est au tour de Nikias Imhoff.
Bonsoir. Hello to everyone. I will try.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. I will try to present myself in English, but I will read in French. I'm reading from Geneva and I'm pianist. I'm finishing my studying now in the Geneva Conservatory. And I will read a poem extract from Élucubration. And I wrote that poem while I was listening to Morton Feldman, to a piece of 4 hours for Philip Guston. Bonne écoute. Des sons dansant dans le vague, à la lueur résonnante des briques, paysage implorant, et sur le sentier, recueillis, des sphères, en lent déplacement. Gratter discrètement le papier pour ne pas décrocher cet homme qui marche éclaboussé de soleil. Recueillir ce jour s'arrêtant à tout moment dans la soudaine ébriété d'une décharge. Par la bouche, aspirer ce que révèle l'ombre sur le mur. Charme frêle de l'inscrit, fumée confinée de soleil, héréditaire lueur répétée. Un trope de braise a germé dans les nervures de toute pierre. Chiffon froid, irréprochable, un chiffrage sans fin apparaît dans la candeur inégale du jour. Le chemin semble se rétracter. À l'autre bout de la sente, le sang s'avance et bat son cycle sonore. Ses feintes pulsées décapitent le temps, recouvrant de lumière l'euphorie du silence. Fiction en rythme sur le rite lumineux, friction de lueur là, au bout de la grève, dans le tournis terrible des faits. Biographie graphique de l'effroi, fruit d'une impossible fresque. Éclipse artificielle, frise spirituelle, liste d'oublieux. Larmes ennuyées, dérive de verre vers l'au-delà des rives. Oubli recueilli, amoindri, morphologie du tournis. Devant l'évidence de l'avancée, admirer la rage du lutteur en déroute, serre du plomb flamboyant, fou fixe face au métal de la forme. Peau de bure ne pouvant se quitter, épouvantable prison de son, au retour on pourra écouter le temps sans coupure s'ouvrir sur les chemins. Dans l'antichambre, des victuailles silencieuses s'attendent à passer à l'acte et répandent un intolérable bruit dans la bouche, tout près des oreilles. Apparaît de dos l'espace chantant. songe à l'autre ailleurs, à côté, à la frontière des songes, odieux l'art du nomade, danseur intégral en ses plis secs. La pensée envahit le bruit, aspérité sur des poutres de pierre, circulation en permanent déguisement, les organes se parlent, s'appellent. Engoncé dans un tailleur, la lumière, avec une once de jonc, préside à l'instant où la pierre se rompt. Devant l'éclair lent de la rature, s'éprendre de l'absence claire, se targuer d'une volute versée à cheminer, ainsi la chaloupe dans l'étoffe, sonore de l'écheveau des boucles traversées. Qu'est-ce? Ce n'est rien. Sa teinte, c'est tout. Tout sert comme l'instant qui lappe. Le bois sourd, l'artifice de lumière s'en va, les larmes du soleil s'évaporent, autour tout tourne. Vacuum, nettoyage du surgit, berceuse de l'indéfini, plaque liée de cendres, la conscience se répartit, frasque du contemplé, ombre dérivée glissée dans le gant du son, sainteté versatile, ficelle de sortilège, cloche sans trêve. La ruine s'ouvre. De l'ancien, nouveau souffle, lumière de fin attendue, flaque de flair, lemme millénaire, sonorité de firmament, raclement intégral, graisse sauvage, agave. Renouveau versatile, se lever, vague revirement inversé, cercle et bois, sève viscérale, caldaire, hilarité, alacrité, de l'acier, coin d'orage, vide respiré, appel à la prière des yeux, verset d'oubli librement versé, conversation, traîne, traîne et traîne. Couche d'azur, azalée, lave, enlève, veille, rive, va, baba, ir, er, en, ra, ta, si, il, le, a, sa, pa, ré, o, fa, a, fi, l, t, s, n, f, k, r.
Super, bravo.
Super.
Merci.
Super.
Alors, je voudrais m'excuser auprès de Nathalie, je l'ai coupée, elle n'avait pas fini.
Oui, alors franchement, tu exagères, Pascal. Hein. Franchement, c'est quoi cette censure là? Attends. Non, mais vous allez les écouter, mes poèmes, les petits amis. Là. Vous n'avez pas le choix. Ça sera sans doute moins lyrique et moins satisfait que Iclas, mais j'y mets tout mon cœur. Le premier s'appelle « Silence des kilomètres ». Je n'ai plus peur, je n'ai plus soif, je n'ai plus faim, je flotte, au loin, à plat ventre, comme une loutre, vidée du trop-plein, vacarme des villes. Surgit le silence des matins monotones où il prend forme. Il dit « En veux-tu » de ma douceur féconde que renaissent les liens. Les mots, fâchés, froissés comme une feuille d'aluminium, s'affrontent sur la page blanche en un fracas. Profondeur du silence, distille son parfum dans ma chambre, nue, nappée d'une lumière en transe, dans sa danse marie-locre de l'ambre. Courtise la résilience, ouvrière à l'ouvrage, évidence d'un toilettage mondial, à l'eau fraîche de l'urgente nécessité, celle d'être à soi, et moi de nos cages libérées, penser nos âmes réveillées, l'éveil d'un autre monde comme toi, le toit d'une maison. Et voir Tananarive, monter les hautes terres, tonnerre des cuivres, tempérament des paradis clairs, et voir Tananarive. Et tu plonges dans la coulée d'un roman à vivre, la perspective née d'un récit à écrire, ondulation des lignes, la mire, direction la rive des pensées toilettées, crépitement des phrases qui se disputent une page, quitter la stase, accueillir la part d'inconnu ce voyage. Et le dernier, réplique. Et si jamais je meurs, alors une œuvre, une fille. Et si jamais je vole, l'annonce faite à Marie, naissance, l'été. Et si jamais j'oublie l'obsédante rengaine des jours passés, et si jamais je craque, brûle l'encens des souvenirs, et si jamais la puissance du chant absout le parfum des jacinthes, et si jamais d'aventure je réinventais la transe de 2 ou 3 notes des mésanges. Vois ce que je sais, donne-moi la réplique. Merci.
Super, merci Nathalie.
Merci Pascal.
Maintenant, nous allons entendre Caroline aka Guiot.
Merci, merci. Je suis Guiot, je suis dans la chambre de ma fille et je suis I'm one lip of 22 lips et j'aime un peu. Je commence avec une chanson. I start with a song which is called Come With Me. C'est devenu très dark ici, mais I walk around the table as you eat your last meal. I walk around the table, don't discuss what's real. Don't use any words which sign the night. Don't use any words which turn off the light. Come with me. Come with me. Come with me. Come with me. See you tomorrow around my table. I buy us bread and see you out. See you tomorrow in my bed. I buy us time and let you in. Come with me. Come with me. Come with me. Come with me. Come with me today. Come with me tonight. Come with me in your mind. Come. Come with me. Come with me. Come with me. Come with me. You give me sleepless nights, Nights filled with lights. Where is my mind in a maze of its own? Eyes wide, no need to sleep. Sleep doesn't come easily. Pupils large, larger than life, under influence. You give me a natural high. My mind is racing, driving through the night. The lights all look alike. I don't give in without a fight. Drinking Bloody Marys in my dressing gown. Perfect soldiers while the moon is coming down. Running through the streets, following the car, not sure where it leads. You give me sleepless nights, nights filled with lights. Where is my mind in a place of its own kind? In a place of its own kind. In a place of its own kind. In a place of its own kind. Good night.
Good night.
Bravo.
Very nice.
Merci, thank you.
Thank you, Caillou. Great.
Now we'll listen Joshua praise.
Merci à Julien et la Fondation Nathalie pour cette invitation à lire un texte pour la 10e soirée poétique. Je vais vous lire un petit extrait de mon roman, Le travail du passage, Passage Work. I will read you an excerpt from the novel I'm working on at the moment. 3 years earlier, I had asked him how he wanted to be commemorated after his death. We were in a cafe in Pau, watching holidaymakers cavort with the waiters as they enjoyed the timelessness of a summer holiday in which love affairs can blossom, live eternally, and disappear into memory, to be held in aspic, all before the full stop of the rentrée. I couldn't imagine Mark wanted to be held in aspic, and yet he surprised me. I don't want to be cremated, he said, not like my mother. So what trace of yourself, I asked, do you want left in the world? I don't want a statue, he said. I asked, how about a grave? We'd spent the day walking around Gers, the site of the concentration camp where both Hannah Arendt and Jean-Marie were kept. Only a few years beforehand, it had been covered with forest, a forceful and active forgetting. The restoration of the camp as a tourist attraction had cut pathways through the trees, or the restorers had renovated the decaying old prison blocks with fake walls and imitation barbed wire. Mark was revolted by this ersatz Holocaust, in which the commemoration of the dead falsified their memory. He preferred the small Jewish cemetery adjacent to the theme park. There, everything was not false proximity and easy to digest placards. As I walked around, Mark said, I read out all the names on the graves and tried to imagine these people, their families, the lives they had lived before Vichy herded them into the camp. By the end, though, I was overwhelmed. I couldn't think anymore. The names seemed to disappear into the black stone, and all that was left, all I could see, was merely the fact of death, mute and indifferent. It made me think that whatever vain hopes we have of controlling how we are remembered, all that will remain, if indeed anything remains, is the name of a stranger on a grave, a name that indicates the mere fact of death. Maybe the charnel houses of the Middle Ages made more sense, he said. Maybe we should become substance. I don't care about having a grave, he told me. It's better to smuggle yourself into the world by other means. I would like 3 chairs to be erected. I want one in Brockwell Park, Brixton, a good stone chair with one word on the backrest in capitals, hunger. On Shingle Street, I'd like to put another chair and on it, solitude. Then, somewhere here, near the village, one more chair and on it the word home. I wouldn't want my name on any of the chairs. Not like those benches you see on National Trust properties. You know, the ones that say, in memoriam, Queen Anne. Who's Queen fucking Anne to me? That's just the name of an individual. That's just a bench. It's said that people have forgotten when their names are no longer said in the world. But that's not true. They're already forgotten when their names become mere sounds. No, he said, I want to remain in the world by disappearing into it. My chairs should be themes for meditation, something to challenge the rambler when he's taking a break from his walk. I smiled. Growing up, Mark would frequently ask me questions prefaced with, don't answer me. Answer my question for yourself. He loved meditation, not dialogue. He liked challenging others, not being challenged. As a child, I protested. I haven't answered your question. You just don't want to hear it. But there would be that same quiet injunction to reflect, and I would storm into my room, trembling with all my answers to his questions. 30 years later, Mark was at it again, sketching a life after life in which he was still troubling people with questions they couldn't answer. Single-word meditations carved into the stone. There was a certain immortality to that, I thought, in his gestures continuing in the world. That fall, I also knew that those chairs were another thing I had to do, another monument to be confronted. Mark was still everywhere. I was overwhelmed by all the tasks and duties, and I began to fear that I would forget the conversations we never finished and those we never knew how to begin. Amid the debris of our life together, what was a grave? How much grave does a person need? A stone chair as a better model for a life after death. Merci.
Nice. Bravo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Maintenant, on va entendre Cathy Aliou.
Thank you. I would like to thank you, Pascal Barré, Nathalie Guiot, and Julien Michel for your invitation tonight. I want to dedicate this reading to its author, the young poet and artist Marcel de Villers, based in Paris currently, and is, I guess, is among us tonight through the audience. So I will read this book. Cette nuit, je dors. The editors are Fresh Edition and 02 Editions, Les Bains Douches, Alençon. And my name is Cathy Aliou. I am an art lover and art practitioner, and I work at Les Beaux-Arts de Paris. I would like also to give kisses to my mom and my dad, miss you. It's a French poem. Cette nuit, je dors. Ça commence toujours par l'usage rituel diurne des corps. Moreau, Deutsch et Maos, super beau, domine à hauteur de taxi-hélicoptère le vaste monde d'eau, qui percute sa bleuté dans l'éclat des vagues et de poissons-chats volants. Alternance accélérée de vides et de pleins dans mes poumons, cellules piquetées d'oxygène enflent et décroissent, éclatent et produisent vive douleur comme nuées de brisures de verre s'abattent sur mes seins. Filets de mes cils, prédatent et enveloppent variations d'araignées, s'ébattent dans le fluide liquoreux et suc ou sève, jaune du soleil charnu et piquant, et alluvions noires qui déchargent dedans. Les valises, hagards de densité d'anthracite, timides, roues glissantes comme des pattes de faon, tirées jusque dans la chambre de Rio. L'appartement retient dans ses murs une dame qui mange de petites bananes et lèche ses doigts sucrés les uns après les autres en riant. Un jour, elle est toute nue dans un reflet d'un miroir. Elle frotte du beurre de mangue contre ses seins. L'odeur de fruits et de gras, étourdissante, m'enjoint de faire demi-tour et de refermer la porte derrière moi, tout doucement. Dans la chambre, mes doigts pratiquent la cérémonie de ma braguette qui s'ouvre et de soustraire mon sexe à la gravité le long de mes cuisses. Des gouttes d'eau cessent de tapoter la rue et la fenêtre très large dégage la nuit rectangulaire comme une feuille de gaz, chaude, asphyxiante, et le ciel, comme un calice d'une dent de lion secouée pétille, se pourvoit des occurrences minérales et brillantes, lointaine. De nombreuses personnes fument sans parler sous des grands calebassiers sur une place. Leurs pieds parfois se posent l'un après l'autre sur le sol, puis l'un après l'autre, à nouveau, jusqu'au rebord d'un bassin pour s'asseoir. Fruits à coque éclatent sous les roues des taxis, répandent de la pulpe, sèche et poudreuse, qui se disperse. Et des grands adolescents observent cela, baladent leurs yeux sur les flancs du trottoir, où meurt une minuscule ruisseau d'essence. Et un enfant, tout imbibé de chaleur, tient la main de sa mère. Dans une autre ville, BH, tropicale et minière, le soir, des torrents d'araignées noires s'épanchent du parc municipal, investissent d'horreur les buildings pointus du centro et les alphavilles. Il y a un garçon qui me regarde dans une villa près de la piscine et me touche discrètement le genou avec ses doigts sous la nappe. Armature spéciale des soirées lentes roule à travers les images des contes initiés du sexe. Je regarde le film si beau, espagnol, où se déchausse la femme rouge et blonde et les choses dorées se déglinguent sur sa gorge et sa main. Les images parlent justement de leur désertion à montrer, empreintes des tuyaux timides de nos yeux et de nos émotions. Quand je suis dévorée de mon lit, hier, cela me revient la raison de Rio, la forêt, sa lente incubation dans la ville. Merci.
Bravo!
Bravo!
Magnifique, Cathy.
Et merci à vous, merci à Marcel de Villers.
Et surtout, lu dans une salle de bain, c'est parfait. Merci.
Merci. Et donc, c'est au tour de Alin Imagi et de moi-même, Pascal Barret. Donc, je me présente très brièvement. Je suis artiste visuelle et performeuse. Et Alin va se présenter juste après. Juste vous dire que on s'est rencontrés toutes les deux sur cette plateforme. Et par croisement de conversation, nous avons trouvé un point commun que nous mettons, nous expérimentons ce soir. Il se peut que ça ne soit pas adapté au médium de Zoom pour des raisons de partage sonore, vidéo à distance, mais peut-être que le podcast sera plus convaincant. Voilà.
Tout à fait. Bonsoir tout le monde. Hello everyone. I'm Hale. I'm a visual artist and poet based in Brussels. So as Pascal said, we are experimenting some project together and we will see what would be the result. So enjoy.
It's very complicated with this body thing, you know, how it will happen. I was painting as a young artist, and mostly I was painting these clouds. And one day sitting and painting and looking in the sky, I saw like 12 military planes passing by, and they make these incredible drawings in the sky. And I look at them and I say, oh, you know, it's really
An Artist's Life Manifesto by Marina Abramovic. An artist conduct in his life. An artist should not lie to himself or others. An artist should not steal ideas from another artist. An artist should not compromise for himself or in regards to the art market. An artist should not kill another human beings. An artist should not make himself into an idol. An artist should not make himself into an idol. An artist should not make himself into an idol. An artist's relation to his love life. An artist should avoid falling in love with another artist. An artist should avoid falling in love with another artist. An artist's relation to the erotic. An artist should develop an erotic point of view on the world. An artist should be erotic. An artist should be erotic. An artist should be erotic. An artist's relation to suffering. An artist should suffer. From the suffering comes the best work. Suffering brings transformation. Through the suffering, an artist transcends their spirit. Through the suffering, an artist transcends their spirit. Through the suffering, an artist transcends their spirit. An artist's relation to depression. An artist should not be depressed. Depression is a disease and should be cured. Depression is not productive for an artist. Depression is not productive for an artist. Depression is not productive for an artist. An artist's relations to the suicide. Suicide is a crime against life. An artist should not commit suicide. An artist should not commit suicide. An artist should not commit suicide. An artist's relation to inspiration. An artist should look deep inside themselves for inspiration. The deeper they look inside themselves, the more universal they become. The artist is universe. The artist is universe. The artist is universe. An artist's relation to the self-control. The artist should not have self-control about his life. The artist should have total self-control about his work. An artist's relation with transparency. The artist should give and receive at the same time. Transparency means receptive. Transparency means give. Transparency means receive. Transparency means receptive. Transparency means give. Transparency means receive. An artist's relation to silence. An artist has to understand silence. An artist has to create a space for silence to enter his work. Silence is like an island in the middle of a turbulent ocean. Silence is like an island in the middle of a turbulent ocean. Silence is like an island in the middle of a turbulent ocean. An artist's relation to solitude. An artist must make time for the long periods of solitude. Solitude is extremely important. Away from home, away from the studio, away from the family, away from friends. An artist should stay for long periods of time at waterfalls. An artist should stay for long periods of time at exploding volcanoes. An artist should stay for long periods of time at exploding volcanoes. An artist should stay for long periods of time looking at the fast-running rivers. An artist should stay for long periods of time looking at the horizon where the ocean and sky meet. An artist should stay for long periods of time looking at the stars in the night sky. An artist's conduct in relation to work. An artist should avoid going to the studio every day. An artist should not treat his work schedule like a bank employee does. An artist should explore life and work only when an idea comes to him in a dream or during the day as a vision that arises as a surprise. An artist should not repeat himself. An artist should not overproduce. An artist should avoid his own pollution. An artist should avoid his own pollution. An artist should avoid his own pollution. An artist's possessions. Buddhist monks advise that it's best to have 9 possessions in their life. 1 robe for the summer, 1 robe for the winter, 1 pair of shoes, 1 begging bowl for food, 1 mosquito net, 1 umbrella, 1 mat to sleep on, 1 pair of glasses if needed. An artist should decide for himself the minimum personal possessions they should have. An artist should have more and more of less and less. An artist should have more and more of less and less. An artist should have more and more of less and less. A list of artists' friends. An artist should have friends that lift their spirits. An artist should have friends that lift their spirits. An artist should have friends that lift their spirits. An artist should have friends that lift their spirits. A list of an artist's enemies. Enemies are very important. The Dalai Lama has said that it is easy to have compassion with friends, but much more difficult to have compassion with enemies. An artist has to learn to forgive. An artist has to learn to forgive. An artist has to learn to forgive. Different death scenarios. An artist has to be aware of his own mortality. For an artist, it's only important how he lives his life, but also how he dies. An artist should die consciously without fear. An artist should die consciously without fear. An artist should die consciously without fear. Different funeral scenarios. An artist should give instruction before the funeral so that everything is done the way he wants it. The funeral is the artist's last art piece before leaving. The funeral is the artist's last art piece before leaving. The funeral is the artist's last art piece before leaving.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Bravo.
Ça en fait des choses que l'artiste doit faire. Hein. Oh my God.
Ouais. Elle rigole pas, Marina.
Non, tout est très sérieux. It's always a serious work.
Ouais. Interesting.
Bon, c'est pas une lecture dans le sens de Marina non plus. Hein. J'espère que. Bon, bref. Now we will listen Kendall Gears. Hello.
Hello, Kendall. Welcome to this Cercle des Poètes à Paris.
Fantastic. I'm very happy to be here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Fantastic. Okay. So I'm very happy to be here. And I'd like to thank you, Nathalie, the Fondation, Pascal, everybody here. And I was inspired by this wonderful opportunity for readings to read two texts which I think a lot about during this time of self-isolation. The one is very well known and the other one is not known at all. But for me, in many ways, they're a diptych, and it's about this moment where we're doing nothing. We're at home and we are confronting this concept of nothingness. So the first one is the Manifeste Cannibal Dada from Picabia, published in Paris in March 1920. I'll read it in English. You are all accused. The defendants will arise. The speaker can only talk to you if you are standing. Standing as if for the Marseillaise. Standing as if for the Russian anthem. Standing as if for God Save the Queen. Standing as if before the flag. In short, standing before Dada, which represents life and which accuses you of loving everything through snobbery. The moment it becomes expensive. Have you all sat down again? Good. That way you'll listen to me more carefully. What are you doing here, packed in like serious oysters online and Zoomed? Because you are serious, aren't you? Serious, serious, serious. Serious even unto COVID death. Death is a serious thing, huh? COVID is a serious thing, huh? One dies a hero, or one dies as an idiot, which is the same thing. The only non-ephemeral word is the word death. You like death for others. Death, death, death. Money is the only thing that doesn't die. It just goes off on a journey. It is God. It is what is respected, the serious individual. Money respects families. Honor to money. The man who has money is an honorable man. Honor is bought and sold like a piece of ass. A piece of ass represents life like French fries. And all of you serious people, you will smell worse than cow shit. Dada smells like nothing. It is nothing, nothing, nothing. It is like your hopes, nothing. Like your paradises, nothing. Like your idols, nothing. Like your politicians, nothing. Like your heroes, nothing. Like your artists, nothing. Like your religions, nothing. Hiss, yell, smash my face in, and then, I will tell you again that you're all suckers. In 3 months, after the confinement, my friends, I will be selling your paintings for several euros. The second text is slightly less known, and it was published in 1975 in the International Review of Psychoanalysis by Bruno Goetz. And the title of the paper was, "That is all I have to say about Freud." Bruno Goetz's Reminiscences of Sigmund Freud. Recently, when I was talking to some friends about my meetings with Freud, they suggested that I should write down my reminiscences, more or less urging me that it was my duty to make my observations accessible to a wider audience, since by shedding new light on this controversial genius, they may serve to correct many widely held misconceptions. Take care, young man, take care, Freud exclaimed when I finished speaking. A clear and sparkling intelligence is one of the greatest gifts. The poet of the Bhagavad Gita would be the first to affirm that very thing. Always be on the lookout. Always keep your eyes open. Always be aware of everything. Always be of unswerving courage, but never let yourself be dazzled. Never let yourself get tied up in knots. Emotion must not become auto-anesthesia. Dostoevsky's principle, head first, head over heels into the abyss, is all very fine, but the enthusiasm which it has aroused in Europe is based on a sad misunderstanding. The Bhagavad Gita is a great and profound poem with awful depths. If, however, without the aid of a clear intellect, you become immersed in the world of Bhagavad Gita, where nothing seems constant, where everything seems to melt into everything else, then you are suddenly confronted by nothingness. Do you know what it means to be confronted by nothingness? Do you know what that means? And yet this very nothingness is simply a European misconception. The Hindu nirvana is not nothingness. It is that which transcends all contradictions. It is not, as Europeans commonly take it to be, a sensual enjoyment, but the ultimate in superhuman understanding, an ice-cold, all-comprehending, yet scarcely comprehensible insight. Or, if misunderstood, it is madness. What do these European would-be mystics know about the profundity of the East? They rave on, but they know nothing. And then they're surprised when they lose their heads and are driven mad by it, literally driven out of their minds. He fell silent and sat down again. I took a moment to compose myself, and then I asked, what happens if you analyze a poem? Do you not then resolve its component parts until there is, strictly speaking, nothing left of it? And in this way, you take us to the brink of nothingness? Freud continued, I have constantly asked myself the same thing. You put the question to me as a poet who feels that his existence is threatened. I, however, am a psychologist, not a poet. When I enjoy a poem as poetry, I certainly do not analyze it. I let it have its effect on me, which is purely that of edifying me. The function of art in society is to edify, to build us up when we are in danger of collapsing. When, however, I approach a poem as a psychologist, it is from that moment no longer a poem, but it is rather a hieroglyphic and problematic psychological text, which I have to decipher, and which, in doing so, I am bound to dismember. The psychological manner which I apprehend has nothing to do with the work of art before me. I merely use it as an invaluable means of gaining scientific knowledge. It is natural that you as an artist should thereby feel injured and misunderstood. Well, I quite understand how you feel, but you must forgive me, since I'm also a man of science who derives pleasure from unearthing and dispatching problems as a huntsman does with his prey. In any case, I don't consider this to be the most important thing. The most important thing is that I'm a doctor and I want to help to the best of my ability. The many whose present lives are an inner hell. It is not in an afterlife but here on earth that most people go through hell, as Schopenhauer has quite righteously seen. My knowledge, my theories and methods have this as their object, to make men conscious of this hell so that they may escape from it. Only when they have learned to breathe freely will men perhaps rediscover what art might be. For the moment, they are misusing it, treating it as a narcotic in order to escape from their worries, or at least for a couple of hours. For them, it's a kind of schnapps. So then you're an atheist, I exclaimed. Stop, 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 not so fast, he said admonishingly. I can't stand big words. Nowadays, they have become almost brimful of lies and rubbish and need first of all to be purified before they can be used again. That's what you poets are there for. Write good poetry. If it is in your power to do so, don't become shut in on yourself or hide yourself away. One always stands naked before God. This is the only prayer we can still offer. Thank you.
Thank you, Kendall.
Very nice.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Political as always. That's
Très beau,
what
très beau.
it's for.
Thank you. Comme chaque session, nous allons terminer avec notre chère Barbara Polla.
Merci Pascal.
Barbara, tu es dans le noir.
Comme ça?
Tu es dans une cave, dans une grotte. Tu peux mettre
Je suis dans ma grotte avec mes livres.
Ok, super.
Je suis Barbara Polla. Et je vous aime tous. J'aime vos voix. I love your voices and I love your words. And I'm very much looking forward to work on the publication of all these poems, to try to put them all together to my best, thanks to the involvement of Nathalie and the Foundation Tally to make a publication about all of this. And these words that we hear now for 10 weeks, every Thursday night, to me, they are about transformation. And the first two poems I'm going to read you are about trying to transform something terrible I see, I read of, or I hear of. And the first two of these poems are about death, that Kendall just talked to us about also. The first one is called Rouen. 4 kids killed a 5th one from behind. 2 shots in his head. Then they burned the body. A sunny afternoon. They were all teens tender and void, gorgeous kids, the 5 of them. Who's going to die next? 4 kids erased the 5th one for no reason than anger, or maybe not even anger's fills the void. They were brothers and teens. The 5th one, only teen, 15 to be precise, forensically 15. 5 kids in the country, 4 men in a jail, in a short news item, it happened yesterday. The second poem is called Teen and is dedicated to Sadek Souri. Sadek Souri is a photographer who photographed young women in jails in Iran. And I read about his work, and in particular about this young 13-year-old girl. Teen, to Sadek Souri. I am 13, I am a teen. Time gives me body and breast and blood, desire for love, desire for life from inside me, like a sun in my chest. I am 13, have smuggled drugs, have taken drugs, and killed my father. I should be hanged at age 18, waiting for that. 5 years to go with death on row. They don't hang you when you're 13. 5 years to live, to eat, to shit, to dream, to screen. 5 years to grow. You will all die, but you don't know. I am 13 inside a jail with walls and ropes to close the time. How do you live? How should I live? This single life I have received with love for life inside of me.
Bravo Barbara,
c'était extraordinaire Barbara, merci beaucoup.
Si je fais une petite pause avant de passer à autre chose, parce que c'est vrai que ce poème me touche énormément. And the next one is called There is Fire Everywhere. I love you, you fuck me. If not you, then life maybe. I love you for your lips. I love you for your cock. I love you for your fuck. I love you for your pains. I love you, you fuck me. If not you, then life maybe. I love you for your pains, for your endless shitty belly, for your words, for your songs, for there's nowhere to go. I love you, you fuck me. If not you, then life maybe. For there's nowhere to go, turning home in despair. Miss you here, miss you there. There is fire everywhere. I love you, you fuck me. If not you, then life maybe. The next one is also about a story I heard, but a more funny one. It's the story of Leonie. And Leonie is a shark, and Leonie actually made babies to herself. It's a true story, and I loved it, and I made a poem out of it. Leonie. I'm a shark, a female shark. They call me Leonie. I'm a shark. I want a baby. I am captive with no male. I had intercourse years ago, maybe centuries, on deep coral reefs and sandy bottoms. I'm a shark, a female shark. They call me Leonie. I thought a lot. How I could do it, the delight of babies, start life again on deep coral reefs and sandy bottoms. I'm reshuffling my DNA, selecting beneficial mutations. I increase my library size, concentrate on female genes and mitochondrial DNA. I'm a shark, a female shark. They call me Leonie. I made love to myself. Because puppies need love. If plants can do it, I can do it too. Parthenogenesis on deep coral reefs and sandy bottoms. We are 4 of me now, all female sharks. In my female world, I'm ready to meet males again on deep coral reefs and sandy bottoms. I'm a shark, a zebra shark. They call me Leonie. And no one understands. And to finish, I thought I should also read a romantic one, isn't it? You know, to finish the evening with some angels. Uncanny. My love is in the wind, my kid is on the swing, and I'm under the wings of angels. Uncanny. Birds are flying north, the sky is burning high. Behind another sky, your hand in your curls. My love is in the wind, my kid is on the swing, Angola, Missouri, the doors will open soon. Mississippi underwater, river is burning deep. I don't know where I am, but my kid is on the swing. Double-edged sword, my paths in the high grass, behind the cloudy sky, my love is in the wind. Your taste is in my mouth, your name is on my lips, and I'm under the wings of angels and canny. Thank you, and you are my angels.
Thank you, Barbara. Merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Barbara.
C'était fantastique, vraiment sublime. Et je voudrais remercier, I want to thank Spirit Now for our partnership. I think they want to stay with us. They love us and they want to come back next Thursday. And so we'll continue our French, English, you know, the mix of, well, voilà, was great, fantastic, very eclectic. Julien, thank you very much, and Claire for the technique and the logistic, and voilà, Barbara, amazing this Leonie.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Nathalie, for all what you're doing for poetry.
Yeah, it's very, very nice. Thank you.
And,
But I'm not doing that alone. I'm doing that with a community.
Yeah, and all of you angels.
Exactly, the community of, like was saying, comme disait Marielle Massé, qui est venue faire une lecture il y a, je sais plus, j'ai plus la notion du temps, mais je pense que c'était il y a 3 semaines, où elle a écrit un magnifique livre qui s'appelle Nos cabanes, où elle parlait de réinventer les nous, N-O-U-S, donc réinventer l'être ensemble. C'était voilà, très d'apropos. Et donc les nous aujourd'hui, c'est Pascal, Julien, Claire et Barbara. Barbara, Pascal, Julien, Claire, Nathalie et toute cette communauté de poètes apparus.
Merci. Thank you.
Et donc,
Merci à tout le monde. Au revoir.
Pour la dernière fois sur Zoom, et puis après, à la Fondation Thalie, à partir du mois de
septembre. Tout à fait.
Prochainement en personne.
Okay. Voilà, bonne nuit.
Bonne soirée.
Ouais. Bye bye à tous.
Bye bye.
Super.
Bon rêve.
Ciao.
Good night.
Ciao.
Good night. Good
Bonne
night.
soirée. Good night.
Ciao.